Can you guys hear? That's how I'm going to start testing things now. Can you guys hear? Can we hear? Can we hear? Can we hear? Are we able to hear? Yes. Okay. Oh my goodness. Lovely. Thank you guys so much for hitting the thumbs up button. Yes, we are currently officially live. Yes. Jules says, yes, we can hear and we can see. Thank you. Subscription Unboxing says, hi, beautiful. Thank you, my love. Hello. Let me put my phone on D&D. Because y'all know those notifications be coming through. Okay, Purple Ocean Zebra says, hi, Jess. Hello. Chanel Johnson says, hey, hey, all. Okay, Maureen Rodriguez says, yay. Hi, Jess. Hi, honey. Seventh and Aspen says, hi, everyone. The Cosmic Conjurer, one of our moderators says, how are you doing today, love? I'm actually doing really good, girl. I was channeling right before I went live. I actually took down some notes just now on what I was randomly channeling. I definitely feel like we have a specific message that we need to share today. So I am going to probably start that first because it feels really important. Oh, Trinity says, hi with Sad Face Panda. I'm sorry, honey. I hope you're doing well. I'm sending you love. Juice says, I'm watching from Canada. Thank you so much, Juice, for tuning in. Santee91 says, how on earth did I catch this live? Because I conjured you. Buttas Butt says, I love your eyes. Thank you, my love. Lauren S says, the peace sign, the heart, and the candle. I love that. Tanong says, hi from Sweden. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to have you here. Zoe says, I missed last week's chat. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys, another week of us hanging out together. I hope that it's going to be another phenomenal one. I will say, for those of you guys that don't like surprises, me, myself, I don't like surprises. This week looks to be pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I love that for us because I feel like last week and the full moon and the times before that, it's been very high, low, high, very up swinging and down swinging, going up, going down. So a lot of us have been hanging on for dear life. A lot of us have been disconnecting from certain energies. A lot of us have been in the internal growth of our life, the internal growth season in our lives, doing a lot of internal transformation and leaning really heavily on our peace and prioritizing health and happiness and joy and abundance and just good vibes. And sometimes that's easier said than done, especially when you're breaking away from past connections that may not have necessarily had that same intention or that same vibe. So honestly, it's so good to have you guys here once again. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Calico Black says, I'm looking forward to getting hired for a job, plus getting the most out of what journaling my ideas could manifest because it's awesome. Good luck with that. Deepika says, I'm sick of transforming. I need a break. Yo, I feel you. I feel you on that. J1987 says, hey, Jess. Hey, love. Lo says, I've been feeling amazing lately. I'm focusing on my own healing and incorporating more herbs. Yes, herbs are life and herbs are medicine. So I'm you guys know I'm all about the herb life. So I love seeing more people incorporating earth magic and earth abundance, like the abundance of the earth in their life, because we have such an incredible resource that we're just living on. So, okay, the Cosmic Conjurer says it's giving tower moments these past couple of months. That is a really awesome way to describe it. For those of you guys that don't know, the Tower card in the Tarot deck is a card that represents, sorry, I just saw this comment just now that says, wait, hold on. Okay, this is it. I want to buy my boyfriend a special Valentine's Day gift, but Uranus and Saturn are scaring me. Girl, go for it. Treat your boyfriend to a nice little gift. If you have it in your spirit to get your partner or whatever your intuition is, always follow your intuition. If the planets are saying one thing, then that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, the divine is always with you. Like the divine is always with you and always speaking to your intuition, and you can't go wrong. Even if it's buying a gift, if it's something that might shock them and surprise them, then you guys will cross that bridge when you get there. But at the end of the day, it's a thought that counts. So, and if it makes you feel any better, just recently, this past weekend, I had, I crossed paths with this. Oh, okay. A. Michelle says, I'm driving out of state to see my boyfriend for V-Day and the Super Bowl. Girl, that's going to be amazing. I hope, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. If it makes you feel any better though, like I recently, well, oh yeah, like this past weekend, I decided to get my boyfriend a spontaneous gift. I saw this guy with a typewriter. It kind of seemed like he had a drug addiction, but as soon as I saw the typewriter and artistic talent, the potential for artistic talent, I was like, bet I'm there. I support this cause. I don't care where the money goes. I got you, boo. Like you have my full support. So I asked him to write a poem based upon, um, some key terms. Based upon some key terms that I would use to describe my boyfriend and I's relationship. And he definitely did his best. I will say that. He definitely did his best. Hopefully he's not following me on Instagram because I don't want him to feel bad. But I brought it to my boyfriend. I was like, yo, I have a surprise for you because he actually likes surprises. And I gave it to him and he was just like, thank you. Like the poem literally made no sense. It was nonsensical. There were parts of it that did rhyme. Not that poetry needs to rhyme, but you could see that he wanted it to rhyme. But it was just completely nonsensical. And when I gave it to my boyfriend, he was just like, thank you. Like it's literally the thought that counts, but also, so I say this to say, yes, that follow your intuition. It may not necessarily be the best gift, but at least you tried. And at the end of the day, that's all that counts and that's all that matters. And I did learn something from the experience. I didn't realize that my boyfriend would actually appreciate if I wrote poetry for him. So it got me thinking. I used to write poetry back in the day. Like, would I go back to revisiting writing a poem for him? And I think that I would. So, yeah. Maureen says, yes, that's all that matters. Thank you. Beloved Prophet says, maybe it'll make sense later. No, it's never going to make sense. Like if you saw this poem, you would just, it's never going to make sense. It's literally chaos. Oh yeah. So shout out to that guy. I don't even know where he got that typewriter from, but God bless him. He was definitely, and when I tell you, he had like a cigarette dangling from his mouth, and when I told him the keywords, he was like, I was like, oh shit, like we got something good here. And then as soon as he was done, he was like, give me 5-10 minutes. I was like, all right, no, do you. But I could see something was up. And as soon as I came back, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. Even my friends were like, what the fuck is this? Like, but I was like, good job. I was like, yeah. You definitely talked about the Doritos. You definitely talked about the dogs. You definitely talked about this. So here, take $20 in addition to, I was like, I literally paid him for it because it was one of those things too, where he was like, pay me whatever you want to, give. And I was like, all right, cool. Like I support the confidence. And I support him sitting there and just doing his thing. And I support the fact that he had this typewriter. I don't know. I was just here for it. I don't care. Clearly something was going on. Clearly he has a history. Clearly he's working through some things. And I was here for it. I don't care where he put that money. I needed to support this man. So shout out to him. Yes. Actually, Zoe says, LMAO girl, nothing rhymes with Doritos. He actually did make something rhyme with Doritos. I will post the poem for you guys later so you could see the chaos in this. You could just he did actually make Doritos rhyme. And for that reason, I gave it had to have been like a $20 tip or something on addition. Cause I was just like, I am not mad at that, but it did not make sense. It did not. Monique says burritos. No, it wasn't burritos. It wasn't burritos. It was something else. Something about, I don't think it was like toes or something, but something about the rise and the fall of the breast and the time that were spent together. It was just fucking nuts. It was chaos. And I love poetry. But yeah, this guy he wasn't all there. But like, who is these days? We're all just out here trying. And I appreciate the fact that he was there and he was trying. And I invested in it and it didn't go. Literally, guys, the slip of paper was like literally half of this journal. This is not me trying to like promote my stuff, but it's like if you take half of this notebook, it was like this. I paid way too much for it, but shout out to him. You guys light a candle in his honor. Okay, so how are you guys doing? What is the vibe? I keep telling myself not to scream. I've got this microphone here, and it's supposed to be not one of the best microphones, but it's not the worst. And I can't stop screaming. Whenever I talk, I just project and yell, and I also get so excited to like see you guys, so I always end up screaming. So that is my vibe. That's how I'm doing. I'm doing well. I'm trying to lower my voice, but also sometimes lowering my voice makes my voice a little shaky, which is weird. It just came with age. As I'm getting older, my voice is getting a little bit more shaky. So it is what it is. How are you guys? Okay, Maureen says, I'm highly energetic. The Leo moon has me hype, but I learned from the past, so I'm taking it easy. I feel you on that. Alchemist Moonbeam says, okay. 9 minutes ago, just made it. Thrilled. Yes. So we just got started. We have not talked about the Cosmic Conjurer says, give us Scream ASMR. Yeah. I wish I could just like lower my voice. See, like, why do I have to bring the microphone closer? Like, it's a subconscious thing. Like, I feel like I might not be heard here. So yeah, I'll work on it. Every day that I show up for Astro Chat Live or I record using this microphone, I learn a little bit more. I actually got it to not stress my throat out when I'm talking, but it's not. I just am literally, I do me at the end of the day. I don't even. Okay. Dana says you have a soothing voice. Really? I always thought that I sound nasally like a Muppet. I used to get teased a lot, and I moved so many times growing up. And when I tell you, every location made fun of my voice. So I just have it in my head that I have a very nasal voice. So it is what it is. Okay. Emily says family is trying my last nerve. I'm trying to trying to bring me into their problems. We could talk about that. I feel you. Cherie says, thanks, Cosmic. I feel seen. Hi, love. I love that you guys are connecting with each other. Okay. Little Baby says, I posted a YouTube video on the Leo full moon really harvests the energy of self-promotion. Yes. Yes. Katrina says, I love the deep voice. My girlfriend has that same voice. Thank you, honey. Soothing. Shout out to both you and your girlfriend. I love that vibe. Soothing Record says, come as you are, girl. Thank you, my love. Samantha says, I love your voice. Sometimes makes me fall asleep to the videos. I have to watch most times. Oh, okay. That's good. Avery says, Missy says, anyone else having alien dreams lately? I would like to know that too. Has anyone been dreaming about aliens lately? Curious. Zoe Gonzalez says she had a mental breakdown 2 days ago. The last 2 days I've been floating. Isn't that interesting? It almost feels like mental breakdowns, which I haven't had one in a long time, knock on wood. But I was just talking about this actually. I come from, for those of you guys that don't know, like I come from a background of like anxiety, crazy anxiety, of course, as a Virgo, like duh. Um, we are like, how much percentage of our body is like water? Is it 70% or 80% or 90%? But all of the energy within that is just high vibration anxiety, just choo, like just wired, honey, just tuned in. Anyways, um, too tuned in. But I've noticed that after a mental breakdown, it's almost like a release, like a super release. I have a Libra friend that had a few breakdowns recently, and I'm just like, yo, let yourself go through the breakdown. You've been keeping all of your shit together for so long. Like, to have a breakdown is actually a blessing because it's this permission from your body to not have to hold and harbor all of the different energies that you've been feeling for so long, and you don't have to keep it together. So if I could pave the way for the mental breakdown to happen for my buddy, I would do that. I think that mental breakdowns are the blessing in disguise. And shortly after, there's always like this peaceful quiet that happens because your body is finally allowed to be human. It's allowed to just kind of be receptive, to be quiet. There's also the exhaustion that comes with that, but there's also a lot of peace. And if you know, you know. Yeah, the Cosmic Conjure says crying is healing. It absolutely is. Boho Soul 851 says, I also had dreams about babies. So I'm seeing you guys saying like a lot of people have been. Oh, wow. Peaceful Drea says, I recently had a dream with 2 brown owls. It was interesting. That is very interesting. I hope you're writing these dreams down, you guys. I hope you're writing things down. Dolores says, Jess, so Syria had an earthquake. Kenya is splitting in half. A town in Ohio is exploding. What is happening globally? I actually talked about this last week. I said that the full moon is going to trigger and activate a lot of, if you guys heard that, I just took a screenshot of that comment just to make sure that I would capture this later. But because I don't really watch the news, I knew that there was an earthquake, but I didn't know Yeah, I knew that like Turkey had an earthquake. But yeah, the full moon would activate and trigger global eruptions, like crazy global eruptions, and it was going to be really hard for us to tell exactly where these global eruptions were going to be or where these eruptions would be happening globally, like where they would fall in the world. I just knew looking at the charts that it was going to happen. Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus, also the full moon happening in the sign of Leo, like just Leo energy and or full moon energy in general will activate. And the way that these planets have been sitting, they're just kind of sitting there dormant and pushing things up to the surface, and you never really know how it's going to show up. You just know that something's about to pop off, and the full moon was such, you could just see it's an incredible trigger for it. So that's why it's nothing to be afraid of. Some of you guys, yeah, Gregory says, I remember you saying that. Yeah, go ahead and check out last week's live chat. I did talk about it in depth. Was it the live or was it the podcast? I can't remember. But yeah, Pretty Brown and Pop, and I love your name, by the way, says, you were the first person I thought about when I saw the news about the earthquake. Yeah. 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 That I heard about the earthquake because it popped up on my phone. Like it was a news thing. I did not know that Kenya was cracking in half. That I'm gonna have to look into that. That's why I took a screenshot of that, because once you guys kind of put me on the map to let me know that something has happened along with my predictions, because once I put it out there, I don't go looking for it. That's never been my vibe. But when you guys see something, you do say something. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and check out the screenshot. I have it now saved on my MacBook. But yeah, it's just a lot going on right now. And that full moon, boy, it's definitely a trigger. You could just see it. Yeah, okay. SP says, yes, it was a podcast. Okay. And for that reason, guys, definitely make sure that you are following on Bahati Life on the podcast, because, I do uninterrupted dives of what's going on astrologically. So you can see all that energy there. Okay. Okay. It's funny because I was just taking a break just now to go back into this space and go and literally start the live, Thank you guys again so much for being here. But I was just thinking it to myself, okay, it's time for us to talk about this channeled message that I pulled as we were getting ready for, or who's we, me, myself, and I, as I was getting ready for the live. And as I was thinking about it, and I was like breathing in order to reconnect with that same energy that I wanted to share with you guys, I yawned. And for those of you guys that don't know, yawning for me is always when spirit, like the divine, has entered the chat. Like the divine is always around us, but when I yawn like that, for me personally, it's always been a sign, even as a little girl, that I'm connecting, I'm in prayer, or there's some type of deep connection that's happening. So I really want to quickly share with you guys a download that I received and a few intuitive messages that came along with that. And we'll see how long we can talk about, like how much longer we'll have left in order to talk about the remainder of these transits that are happening this week. For those of you guys that don't like surprises or might be on the edge of your seat, I will say that for the most part, this week seems to be like coasting. It feels very cathartic. It feels very, I don't want to say healing, but it feels very supportive. It feels very loving. It feels like a soft week. There's not a lot of transits that, from what I can see right now, that are going to create any more chaos and tension outside of anything that might be lingering from the full moon. So we would have already seen, at least for the next 7 to 8 days, so spilling into next week, we've already seen the worst of things, if that makes any sense. So just know that the days upcoming will be peaceful. If you want to listen specifically to what I've pulled from the chart, you can check out Bahati Life podcast, and we will talk about it tonight, especially if we have time left. But I just really am genuinely feeling, before I went live and before I hit the live button, I had my pen. You guys know I'm such a fan of Sharpie energy. I also have my notebook here. Shout out to the new drop. But I've also been today I kind of took the day to kind of do a little bit of, not a cleanse, but what do you call it? Like, not a detox. When you just like, you're not really eating food. And the intention was for me to drink water and to channel. And as soon as I set the intention to go live, and as soon as I sat down to get ready for live, it literally, I just started channeling. So these are the notes that came through. And it's really interesting because some of the things that I wrote down are things that actually came up earlier on in the day when I stepped out for a second to get some fresh air to meet up with a friend. And this common theme about anxiety and fasting. Yes, you guys, thank you so much. Fasting. Yes, 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 yes. You do it for to cure your body. Oh, thank you guys for the 222 likes. I really appreciate it. There's about 500 people in here that are tuning in and 200 likes. So about 300 likes missing. So if you guys could please give this video a thumbs up. At the end of the day, these live streams are free and they're for your benefit. If you're in here, it's because you know who I am as a person, you know my intention. And having said that, you guys know that I'm pretty consistent unless I'm going through something or if I need space or if I'm trying to prioritize quality time. So these lives are very impactful for a lot of you guys. You see the benefit of it. And a way to give back is to give the video a thumbs up because it does actually show a lot of support, especially as I'm channeling or as I'm watching the thumbs up going, like the likes coming through. It shows me that you do actually appreciate my presence and just me being here as a human being. It does make a difference. Social media is not my entire world, but it is a representation of the people that are out there that show up for me as I show up for you. It lets me know that you may not necessarily like what I say, but you know that as a human being, you recognize me as a human being here and that you're either listening or whatever the case is. So for those of you guys that did give the thumbs up, thank you. And for those of you guys that haven't, I would really, really, I would love to see that happen, but clearly no pressure. So, oh my God, as I said that, the next message that I wanted to share with you guys, or the message that came through was there's a few, but the first word that came through is the word defiance. And for those of you guys that don't know, how spirit has always talked to me is through words and through songs, through sounds, and the way that lyrics sometimes kind of put themselves together, or sentences put themselves together. It may not always be a song or a word that I've heard of or that I know, but as soon as I hear it, I go back to it. I look at the definition of it. And the more that I talk about it, the more I receive. So when I heard the word defiance, it kind of shook me to my core because I started thinking, how is defiance normally brought to, like, how do we view defiance as a society? When we hear the word defiant, we think of someone who may be rocking the boat for some major purpose, but it can be like a headache or something that is deviant from what the rest of the world or the rest of society is doing. So in today's society, sometimes when we see somebody who's being defiant, we don't necessarily want to engage ourselves in it because we're not trying to rock the boat. We've got enough on our plate. We're not trying to stress out. We're not trying to get involved. We're not trying to engage in defiant behavior, the majority of us, I want to say. However, the more that I sat with it and the more that I was receptive to the guides kind of ushering me through this word, defiance, I started realizing how, as spiritual people, defiance is going to be a key component to our time here on earth. Whether you are someone who is that you would consider like a warrior spirit or warrior energy. In fact, if you're someone who would consider yourself a warrior or consider yourself a fighter, this is not you. Defiance the word defiance, at least how it's being applied right now, does not apply to the warrior like energy. It does not apply to someone who wants to fight, even if they're advocating or fighting for someone else or fighting for their own needs or fighting for something that is seemingly unfair. Defiance is something that, at least for right now, the guides are wanting us to walk into this concept of how do we individually, how can you individually deviate from what is happening in your external environment in order to find the best solution that is going to be peaceful, that is going to be loving, that is going to fill you up with joy. The reason why it is considered defiant is because there are so many external factors that are right here, right now, that are trying to pull you away from unification to your peace of mind, unifying with the presence of the divine, unifying with higher love, not only for yourself, not only for others. And there's this ache that I feel in my spirit that I wasn't even aware that the divine was existing with until just now before I was going to go live with you guys. There is this ache in our society right now that the divine sees us being pulled away from each other in all these different ways, because there has been so many things thus far that have been set up by these higher level energies, meaning like not high vibration but higher level energies, people, places, intentions, things that people have conjured, things that have made money, things that have been fueled by greed, that now have become such a core, like the bricks of our foundation, like the bricks of the foundation of our society as we see it right now, that we have become so disjointed from the space of peace and wellness and wholeness, that even when we are pursuing health, or we think that we're pursuing health, there's something about it that separates us from ourselves. And where is it safe for us to really be in a space of peace without it being defiled in some way, shape, or form soon after we find it? And then if I take pauses right now, it's because I want to feel, I want to receive, I want to download, I want to be guided through this conversation. This conversation, this message is not something that I've been myself reflecting on, because if I'm being honest with you, throughout my day to day, I'm not thinking about this message right here. I've been thinking about my random odds and ends. I was thinking about deep wash, shampooing and deep conditioning my hair. I was thinking about the fact that my eyelash was sticking off. I was thinking about what am I going to have for dinner. Those are things that filled my thoughts. This conversation that we're having right now was not something that was in the forefront of my mind, but now that we're here, I want, and my intention is for the divine, for the guides to guide me through this message that every single one of us can receive right now, especially if you're here. So when we talk about defiance, and by we, I mean the guides, when they talk about defiance, it is defying, it is your ability to branch off from the things that inhibit and hinder your ability to really rest in a peaceful state, a loving state, an abundant state. It can look like defiance for you is not something that is loud and doesn't have to be aggressive or assertive. Defiance for you can look like finding different things, breaking free from the system that makes you feel negative thoughts, that makes you believe certain things about yourself that are not true, they're inaccurate. Defiance for you can look like the fact that you look for things to make you optimistic throughout your day. Defiance for you can look like finding joy when the world itself around you may be collapsing in many different ways and shapes and forms. Defiance for you can look like prioritizing health and your vitality and not buying what's on sale, and not and investing your money or investing your resources in something that isn't on sale, something that they don't want you to have, something that isn't going to profit them, or it's not trending or whatever the case is, but you know that it is going to fuel you. It's going to fuel you in all the many different ways. Defiance for you can look like, I know what my partner is saying, but I know what I feel and I know what I've been saying. And even though I may have originally agreed to this, it does not feel peaceful for me to stay in this space, or for me to co-sign, or for me to agree, or to go with the flow in this relationship. Defiance for me can look like the whisper of a yes or the statement of no. Defiance it'll look different for everyone. Defiance can be asking your pastor at your church questions about things that are taboo or forbidden to ask, and knowing that he might look at you or she might look at you in judgment. Defiance for you can look like, I don't want to study this anymore, putting your books down and dropping out of school and pursuing a hairstyling career because beauty is your passion and you love how people's faces light up when they see themselves in the mirror and love themselves for the first time, because the aesthetic value matches something that they know makes them feel good about themselves. Defiance for you can look like going for a walk with your dogs and not bringing your fucking phone. Defiance can show up in all these different ways. What does defiance look like for you? Some of you guys may even be called right now to disconnect actually from the spiritual community in order to reconnect to your spiritual self, because the spiritual community does not serve. It's not serving life. It's not. It's somehow been manipulated. This is me speaking from my own personal experience. Not that I've ever relied on social media. I've always been very cautious and hesitant with social media. I've always had people throughout my life, personal story right now. I've always had people in my personal life, even the closest people next to me, be like, I don't get it. How are you on your phone posting content so often, and yet you don't look at my DMs? You don't see what I'm posting. You don't, because I'm not scrolling through Instagram. Social media is a tool where I put my message out and I share my life, but I've always said that I keep my head down and I keep it moving, because it's not something that I've ever felt comfortable absorbing in any way. And the spiritual community for me personally is not, it's always been something that I've had conflicting thoughts and feelings about, because although I am a part of the spiritual community, I don't feel a part of it because I don't agree with it. In a lot of ways, it doesn't always feel supportive, and the way that it gets profited and marketed off of sometimes is not something that always feels authentic, and I can't really get behind that all the time. So defiance for me can look like me not showing up, or me not using the platform in order to sell, in order to market all the time. It can look like me not showing up at all. Defiance for me can look like, there's this moment that I'm watching right now. This dolphin just comes up and sprays me with water. Defiance for me can look like the fact that I didn't share that on my stories. And maybe you guys would believe that, or maybe you wouldn't believe it, but I know. And defiance for me looks like that this is my world that I've created. So it's just, defiance doesn't have to be so outrageous. It doesn't have to be so loud. But at least for today, or the next 15 minutes or the next 30 minutes that we have, I really want to encourage you, because I'm inspired by spirit to encourage you to really look at the world around you. Like, really look at the world around you and absorb that content. Like, what is this? Like, what is this? You don't need to question it so much that it creates pain or disconnects you from peace. But defiance for you may look like taking the lens off of your face in order to see things for what it really is. There are certain things that may need to be called into question. Is this okay? Is this justified? Should it be this way? If I stay silent in this, what am I actually saying? By me not saying anything, what am I actually saying? I'm saying that this is okay and I get behind this, and that you or it or whatever this is something that doesn't need to be disrupted. So for that reason, it will continue on. Defiance for you may finally saying, no, enough is enough, or no, this is where I draw the line, or no, I don't like the way that you say this. I don't like the way that you talk to your friend that way. Or I can feel defiance for you may look like you standing up for someone who can't stand up for themselves. Defiance for you can be, I have been picking up on energy for so long. Are you okay? Like, I know that you are the loudest, most bubbly, most beautiful, most brilliant person, and everybody in this room goes along with it because you're so stunning and you're so this, but are you okay? Because in my spirit, I don't feel like you are. I can feel the lonely. I can feel the disconnection. I can feel the isolation. Girl, are you good? Defiance for you can be like the whole world, the whole community could be going along with the flow of certain things, but you have noticed, you have picked up on something, and you have been guided and led to at least observe it and be aware and be the one to say, you know what? No, 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 no. Yeah, Ashley Palmer says defiance can be saying yes to exactly what is that you want. Absolutely. Defiance can be refreshing. It can be asking for more. It can be you being too much in a world that says, lower your voice. Defiance is going to look so differently for every single one of you. And at least for, again, the next 30 minutes, what if our brains just started wiring to think about, what is this? Like, what is this? Is this okay? Is this fruitful? Is this abundant? Is this peaceful? Does this feel loving or does this feel disjointed? And what am I actually co-signing here? What am I going along with? The other message that I want to share with you guys is this feeling of don't force anything. Nothing should be forced. Having said that, it's interesting that that was the second message to come through when defiance is about kind of like eradicating certain things that aren't working, or actually advocating for things that you want to work, or standing up for yourself, or prioritizing peace, or reading books of joy and happiness, whatever helps you to feel faith filled and love filled and joyous, and just feeling fruitful, like feeding your soul, feeding your spirit. What does that look like for you? And the next stage and the next message that came through was don't force anything. I wrote down this message and I want to read it to you guys verbatim. I wrote down, I said, life is truly not meant to feel dysfunctional, unhealthy, unsupportive, and chaotic. As a human being, you are truly not meant to stay in a space of dysfunction or chaos. This is not the same thing as craving or needing change or freedom. They're very different. I think that for at least right now, sometimes, well, there's this message here, right? That things feeling, for human beings to not feel like they're staying in a space of chaos and constant change. Sometimes we have to kind of sit with ourselves and ask ourselves why, especially if things have been so crazy, why do we push past? And this is going to be really controversial, and some of you guys, it might not resonate with you in this moment, but maybe later, or maybe it's not for you. But why sometimes, if we are not right in our spirit, if we do not have peace within ourselves, if we cannot fully be touched, if we do not allow ourselves to fully be touched by the energy of true unconditional love, as human beings, we understand that there's a desire for something more and greater and substantial and safe and love and support, that we can find different ways to, I don't want to maybe look for it, but without letting it touch us. Because you can also find that if it touches you and you feel it and you sit with it, that if you get too comfortable, if you let your guard down, then the same thing that hurt you in the past, or the same thing that threw you for a loop in the past, can then happen again. And as a human being, you are wired, there's a part of you that is wired for survival. I feel like with the message here of don't force anything, and that you are not meant to feel dysfunctional, unhealthy, or unsupported, it's to say that for someone somewhere right now in this moment, that sometimes making any more unnecessary changes right now is not you wanting the best for yourself. It's the fact that you are actually avoiding the best for yourself. Because by keeping the mind and the body busy, there's a part of you that doesn't necessarily settle, that there's always something to pursue. There's always something to gain. There's something to change here. And once I do this, and once I tweak this, and once I have this, and I've got to do I have to exert all this energy in order to make this thing happen. It's going to not only exhaust you mentally and physically and emotionally, but spiritually, it's not allowing the divine or your higher self to really speak into your bones and tell you that it's never going to come from any external thing. It absolutely has to come from an internal revelation. And the only way that that can happen is not by starting over, or changing this, or producing a fight, or having something that you need to convince you again and again and again, that it's here. Whatever you have to keep pursuing and keep forcing and keep, okay, well, once this happens, then I'll know. Once they tell me this, then it's never going to be a solution that comes from out here. If that was the case, it would have already, you already would have found it. It would have already secured its space within your life. It would have already filled the cup up. I believe that the reason why the guides are talking to us about not forcing things, like don't force anything, is because nothing needs to be changed anymore outside of really small, subtle changes within yourself, as far as you, again, like how the observation, the perception that's happening within you. Nothing else needs to be forced. Nothing else needs to be pushed forward. Because then it starts getting dysfunctional. Then it starts getting chaotic. Then it starts getting imbalanced. That's not to say that you should stay right put and just accept your current situation or your current circumstances, but it is to say that if you whatever it is that you're pursuing right now, whatever it is that has so much meaning for you right now, whether it be a relationship or relationship goals, or whether it be this next career, this next stage, or what this house represents, or what this car represents, or what this camera represents. Once I get this, then it's going to, and I've got to make it, you're forcing it. And what if the only thing that needed to change right now, at least in this moment, was what is your perception of it? Like your desire to be so hands-on. It's not at what point does it become, I don't want to say inhuman, because that's not it. There's this human desire for every single one of us, but at what point does it start to become almost parasitic? This parasite that's within us that just needs and wants and eats and da, 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 da. Yeah, Rena says you can't control the outcome. You really can't. You can contribute to somewhat of the outcome, but also remember that as a spiritual being, you will be divinely inspired and lit up from within by this all-knowing, all-loving, highly super intelligent power that will guide you, lead you, inspire you, uplift you, fulfill you, and guide, and then you then get to feel that, download that, receive that, and then direct your physical body to move in alignment with what how the divine has inspired your movement. So at least by not forcing things, by not forcing an outcome, by not forcing anything to change, by not getting caught up in the dysfunction and the movement of of a dysfunctional society, what if all you did right now is hands off, sit back and allow yourself to, if you have glasses on, do you guys remember those? Is it the 80s when they have the glasses with the sunglasses on them and you flip them up and then they were clear glasses? There was a TV show that one of the guys actually wore glasses like that. You just flip it up and then the sunglasses would be sitting up here and then the regular glasses would be here and then you could flip the lens back and then be sunglasses on top of it. What if you just sat back and you flip the sunglasses up and you started to see things in your world a little different? Let's say you have a lot of stuff in your space right now. You have a lot of things in your, yes, a different world. Oh my God, boom, a different world. Isn't that interesting too? That's, yes, Dwayne Wayne. Yes, even that right there is a message. A different world. Oh my God, that is a message right there. That is a message. A different world. It's true though, because that was the name of the show. But he was known for those glasses. But perspective is like what? Wait. Like Lauren's saying, perspective is so important. Perspective is so important. You can literally see the world through a different lens, a totally different world through a different lens. That is a message all right there. Basket Weaver says with his fine ass. He was cute though, wasn't he? That dark skin. Beautiful man. Beautiful. Anyways, Ronnie says, so to let go would be the assignment. It's no. Let go is not the message here. The message, if I had to sum it up, would be to zero in. Not let go, not hold on. Zero in. Like really nail it. Really look. Not only with your physical eyes, but your physical eyes will show you. Like your physical eyes, you'll be able to see what's going on. If you have full eyesight, you'll be able to see for the most part. But also, even if you don't have your physical eyes, you can energetically feel the things that it is that you trip over, literally and metaphorically, the things that trip you up, and then start to zero in intuitively on divine, inspire me to know what is right. Divine, inspire me to know. I want to become more close to you. I want to pursue a higher path. I want to pursue peace. I want to pursue love. I want that to pursue me. I want to connect with that. I want to be one with that. I want to be one with that. I want to be one with that. That I'm zeroing in on that. Show me that in a world that has me looking through this lens, that a world that has me, it's not about letting go, because then you might be forcing yourself to let go. It's not about holding on, because you could be forcing yourself to hold on. It's about zeroing in on what connects immediately to the divine or higher light or higher love or higher vibration, and getting closer to that. Getting closer to it and allowing it to get closer to you. Every step you feel the intimate connection between you and a higher vibration in all the different ways, and that kind of guides your steps. And I think that defiance means that you don't necessarily go along with the way that things have been playing out so far. That even if you've made decisions up until this point that don't necessarily reflect the higher vibration that you have become, that you can separate or deviate or change or pivot at any point in the game so that you can align. And that in all of this, you allow it to be, you don't force it to be. It's not about letting go. The flow, when Wayne says the flow, he's Wayne Peak says the flow. It's something similar to the flow because in our society, sometimes when we hear go with the flow, it also can stimulate the energy of like complacency. And it's not complacent, it's receptive. It's active, being actively receptive to a different level of like abundance or a different type of quality of abundance that is just different, or maybe our society. I just feel it. I just feel it. Yeah. The next thing that I wrote down is, oh shoot, I totally forgot that I wrote this down at the very end. Keep an eye open for different types of abundance. Not all abundance will look the same. Yeah, I that was the last thing that it is that I wrote, and then I will not circle back. I hate using that because it's so corporate America, and I just can't with corporate America. But there's this message here about keeping an eye out for different types of abundance. So some of us may have pursued like certain levels of abundance, whatever that looks like for you. Abundance doesn't necessarily have to represent material wealth. It can represent an abundance of love, like when you wake up in the morning and your partner is right there, and whatever, I don't know. Maybe abundance for you looks like a lot of likes and views online. Maybe abundance for you looks like a G-Wagon. At least for right now, Spirit is saying or referring to keeping an eye out for different types of abundance. And I feel like there's going to be this like pivotal change within you, me, us, society. I don't know where this is coming from because I don't know where this message, I know where it's coming from, the divine, but I don't know where this message is coming from as far as like why. But I feel like there's going to be this pivotal change where what's really important and what's really valuable is going to shift. It already has. We went from being a society that was so stuck on consumerism to then switching to like minimalism. But then there's something about like even the minimalism would seem like it's like, oh, this is great. Like we don't need everything, but there's something more. Even in that, like if you sat with it and you like looked into it and your spirit sits with it, and maybe it's just me. I'm now speaking personally. But even the minimalistic movement, I can see what you're doing there, but at the same time, there's this like there's a vacancy there too. Like there's a vacancy, and there's like, okay, well, in order to achieve this minimalist attitude or minimalist lifestyle, you have to then buy this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's just like all of that comes with a cost. It's not minimalistic in any way, shape, or form. You just started spending your money on the color beige and brown and tan. How is that different? If you really sit with it, you then start to I don't know. But you guys know what I mean? Like it's like clothes. Like I don't know. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. So let's say, for example, like I actually love the color beige. I love the color tan. I love the color brown. But it's almost like our society went from all these different, like, for example, like the makeup industry, like they went from being like, you got to get this palette to this, to this, to this. This is just an example, but you got to do all these things. And then all of a sudden we were just like, no, fuck that. Like this, no. So now we're going to go into minimalism. But in order to do that, then you're going to need this type of, and then you're going to need this, and then you're going to need this, and then you're going to need this bag, and then there's going to be this, and then this type of way. Oh, Maureen says pivot. That word stuck with me. Thank you always. You're so welcome. Yes. Ashley Young says we're swinging from one extreme to the other, and she's right. But the truth is that it's kind of the same thing. It's just in a different package, and we bought it. So In this case, I'm using the makeup industry as an example, and I say that as I have makeup all over my face. But in this case, it's like I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but you guys get what I'm putting down. Hold on. Avery says, melty face, heart, planet, hibiscus, smiley. Thank you guys so much for the emojis. I love all of those. Yeah, it's Jewel says it's the same thing, different wrapping, exactly. And if we just maybe sat back and really not hyper focused, but if we intuitively focused on our not ourselves, but like the divine and this one sense of oneness, I think that we would be led in a different way. Having said that, thank you, Katrina. I really appreciate your super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I love that color green right now. It really serves. The last message that I wrote down is this message of sensitive beings. And I just made this into a post on my Instagram. Actually, I did a reel, and it's about highly sensitive people. So highly sensitive people or sensitive beings are sensitive for a very specific reason, right? So we can pick up whether we are aware of it or not. Our subconscious minds are very, very active, whether we realize how active they are, whatever it is. Our subconscious mind is perceiving information and then takes that information and starts to process it. And that processation, for lack of a better word, has an impact on your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual body. So as a sensitive being, looking at your environment and being aware of your environment and being aware of your relationships and being aware of what is being said here and being aware of what you're listening to and being aware of what you're downloading simply because it's trending is really important. I'll say this really quick example, and this is not me throwing shade towards anybody, but for example, SZA, right? I love her music. I love her vibe. I love her, period. I found it very interesting that and the reason why I'm using her as an example is because I don't really listen to a lot of music, period. The most of the music that I've been listening to lately has been old school type of songs. It's her lyrics. Yo, oh my God. Yes. Daily Lotto Calculator said it's her lyrics. Literally, as I'm saying this is actually a perfect example. It kind of really goes, and there's nothing. I love SZA. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit. I love her. But I was like, she was someone out of all the people that I don't listen to, she was someone that I listened to. And her latest album dropped, and I was just like, oh my God, like, it's the industry, yo. Like, it's like what is trending right now. Even I listen to a lot of Black artists, so I'm just going to speak for that. But even like Beyonce, like, I don't know why I'm whispering, but something's not right. Something's not right. And I can't listen now anymore to like mainstream music. I can't, because it's the rhetoric. And like, even when I stopped listening to it, I would find myself, because I would listen to it 2 or 3 days. Yes, Jenny says I can't listen to Beyonce, and I loved her. Girl, it's the frequency, it's the vibe. The same artist that I used to really love and really used to bang with, the new albums and the new music that would drop out, like we'd be dropping from them, I'm like, this is so evil. Like, this is really fucked up. Like, it's like the concept, the theory, the conversation, the thoughts in this person's head. Don't get me wrong. It's such a low vibration. And these are people that it's like, I don't know. Yes. Oh my God. Mindfully Vagabond says, did you see Sam Smith? No, but I heard about it. Like, I heard that he was, and this is nothing against, and this is why we can't, defiance. I'm going to be the one to fucking say something, because this is where like society gets so scared sometimes to say some stuff. But like, honestly, our society is getting more and more whacked sideways. as spiritually as we have all, I'm going to just speak for myself. I'm a part of the spirituality community, but I'm not a part of it. I'm a part of it, but I'm not a part of it. And sometimes it almost makes me embarrassed to be a part of it, even using YouTube as a platform, because there's so much lower vibrations out there that are doing exceedingly well. But, and it's not even hate. It's just like, it's like, embarrassment is not the word. It's just like, how do I be a part of this? Like, how do I coexist with this? Like, we are not one and the same. And how do I say that I'm different from that? And you just can't. But anyways, there's something so low vibrational about our society right now. It's so whacked sideways. It is cattywampus. It is not upright. It is not coming from an uplifted space. This is not what the divine would have wanted for us. This is not healthy and conducive to longevity, not for your mind, not for your body, not for your emotions, not for your relationships. There's something to be said for freedom of speech. There's something to be said for being who you are and being fully expressive, but there's also something about lost souls. There's something about deviant souls that is just running rampant, and it's evil. It's evil. It's genuinely evil. It's whacked sideways. It's not erect. It's not right. It's not right. And I think that when you get images of a grown-ass man who should be empowered, who should be beautiful inside and out, and I didn't see the video, so I can't even talk on it too much, but when you see someone drinking from the toilet or whatever the case is, and again, like, I'm ignorant, okay? Like, I have not seen the video, so I'm completely ignorant to it. It's not even okay. Wait, Tasha just joined the chat. She said, I was just telling my friend to watch what she was listening to because it can cause more problems than it helps at times. It's in everything. It's in everything. And it slips right in. It slips in. It's very subtle. Also, sex. So I don't know if I've ever brought this to the platform because I don't want to sound like someone who is boxy or whatever the case is, but there's the way that demonic energies work is that they try to disconnect you from not a holy, I'm going to use the word holy for lack of a better word, but from a very pure space of love and light. That's not to say that it's Christian or Muslim or Hindu or anything that is like righteous and holy and whole. It's something that is coming from a pure space. I'm not getting into politics. I'm not getting into religion. I'm just talking about things that are pure in nature. And deviant energies pull you away from the ability to connect to something that is whole and loving and honest and pure. And the more that they start to pull you away, it's very subtle. It's a separation. It isolates you. You don't have support. You're out there in the world alone. And then you start to look for meaning in certain things in order to like give meaning and value to your life. So then you start believing certain things. It starts to get into the mind. And then then your physical body is one of the last things where that sounds really random, but your physical body is so important because it is the like our, not a tool, but it's like our package here. It's like what is here to protect us. It's our vessel. You know what I mean? And when that, even with sex being so casually tossed around and then put this label on of independence, like I could have sex with anybody that I want and there's no punishment, and there's not to say that you should be punished or shamed for anything that you do, but there's something about things not being sacred and things not being, there's no level of discernment. There's no level of separation between me and that which is energetically filthy. And when you do not partake in that, there's an assessment of you or your character or your I don't know. And I feel like one of the last things that like demonic or evil energies do is that once it's inside of you, not only in your spirit, but once your physical body, the very last thing, the very surface level thing, once that's gone, it's almost like it's almost like what's left? Like what is left? Like you're even as I'm talking about it, I can feel like I just feel like this is going to be hitting for someone, and I don't want to trigger, but this is bringing it back. Any past decision, right? Any past decision that you've ever made doesn't have to continue. It doesn't have to carry forward. You can activate the energy of defiance, but by not actively participating in that which you know is not pure. And if you sit with it, and if you sit with the divine, if you pursue the divine, and if you start to pursue some level of like, not purity, but some level of pureness that you inherently are, that as soon as you're born in this earth, whether you're gay or straight or black or white, it doesn't matter. Like you're so innocent in the eyes of the divine. You're so pure. You're so worth protecting. And there's so many things on this earth that want to defile you, that want to pull you away from a space of peace and love and faith and optimism and joy, and convince you that if you do this, or if you do this, or if you do this, or if you pursue this, or if this happens, then finally you can come back. At the end of the day, you didn't need any of that to come back to yourself. You didn't need any of that to connect with the divine. You didn't need any of that to find your purpose. This is not an invitation for you guys to run to church tomorrow or on Sundays and then find God or the divine or yourself in the church, because the church itself is dysfunctional and whacked itself. If that's where you find the divine, if that's where you find yourself, then go. I support you and your journey and your path. At the end of the day, I'm just saying that the lens that we have over our eyes right now, be the defiant you that says, I'm going to flip this up and I'm going to choose to start seeing things for what they actually are, instead of just going along with the flow of things. This doesn't mean that you have to, again, tomorrow change. 8:08 on the clock, 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this doesn't mean that you have to change everything, throw everything out, be shameful. No, it's actually the opposite. You don't have to change anything. Like, you genuinely don't even have to change anything. You could just literally just sit with yourself and ask for closeness to the divine, or ask for closeness to the sun god. You know, whatever it is that speaks life into you, ask for closeness to that and start to draw closer and nearer to that, whatever that looks like for you. To each their own, every path. I believe that there's many paths to the divine. There's many paths to the divine, to your higher self. Also, use your discernment in your trust in people. This is not, okay, guys, this is not me coming to you from a space of a scorned heart. Because if I'm being honest with you, the times when I was scorned were the times when I put all of my trust in humanity. The times when I was actually my most, like, at my most down, like very, very down, I put all of my trust in other humans, because even people that, like, family and friends, or my partner at the time, partners, right? At the time, because that's how, in the past, that's how, I'm going to use the word defiled I was. That's how lost I was. That I'd given up hope, even in the middle of everything, of the greatest abundance and blessing of my life. I had actually, and as a spiritual person who actually pursues the divine and has a close relationship with the divine, I felt totally disconnected from the divine, because so much of myself had been actively violated that I lost faith in spirit. I lost faith in myself. I lost faith in my intuition. I lost my ability to be optimistic. I lost faith, period. And as a human being, I started to look for others and put my faith in them, when the truth is that we're all out here trying to figure this out. We are all out here trying to figure this out. We do not have answers. Not the wisest person on the face of this earth has answers. In fact, I believe that the wisest person would tell you that they don't know. So this is not me coming to you and saying that my heart is scorned and to not trust other humans. And in fact, it's the opposite. My heart has lately been so full, and it has a lot to do with, a part of it has to do with the pieces of the puzzle that I've manifested to help make me happy here as a human being, but also spiritually, it is the rise and the fall that happens in the spiritual experience, especially if you're really questioning society, not society, but it's questioning all of this existence. And also, if you're going through a Kundalini awakening, like you're gonna have a rise and a fall, honey. Go ahead and prepare for it. There's nothing wrong with you. The further the fall, the further the fall, the more you're doing it right. I'm just saying that. I'm not telling you guys to not have faith in humans. I'm just saying that human beings are human beings, and we are all, it's the blind leading the blind out here. But the divine is generous, and there is this higher wisdom if you believe it, and if not, then maybe life is meaningless, and maybe it is, I don't know. But there's some advice that, and there's some resolutions, and there's some conclusions to certain things that you are going to want to find on your own and not lean on others for advice or for support. You can lead yourself to that, or trust in yourself enough to not ask for advice from your friends, from your family, from your boyfriend, from your partner, from your wife, from your kids, from the dog, from the cat. Have that relationship where you ask the divine for insight, for clarity, for next steps. What are the next steps? And then have the patience to wait for the answer, and have the patience to wait for clarity. And maybe potentially allow that to be the bricks of the foundation of your life instead of the bricks of the foundation that other people are giving you, society, your friends, or whatever. Oh, yeah. Jesse says, my cats will be pretty pissed when I don't consult them on plans, though. Girl, that's so funny that you say that, because I just saw this comment recently that said that cats actually understand human beings. They just don't care, which I thought was so funny. Cats are so funny. There was also this fact, my boyfriend was just sharing this with me about cats in general. I forget what it was. Anyways, guys, love you so much. I'm totally deviating from my normal conversation that I have with you guys. This week's astrological predictions are up for you guys on Bahati Life Podcast. Robotic Jess, Business Jess, ... Follow me on Instagram. I'm there. Follow me on Twitter. I'm there too. Follow me on the podcast if you want to tune in and listen to my astrological predictions. Robotic Jess promoting . There's notebooks, there's t-shirts, there's not pens. You can get your favorite pens at Walmart. Do you, boo? At the end of the day, like, fuck it. We're all just out here living, okay? I'm sending you guys love and light from my heart to yours. Thank you guys so much for being with me once again this week. My intention is to show up next week. Who knows what happens? I will try my best. Until then, you guys, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, bye.